Thank you for joining us here at Manley Rods, and today we're going to show you how to install an adjust-a-butt or MRF system in an old or existing rod. Now the adjust-a-butt, as you all know, and here's one right here, and you can see how good it makes a rod look, but with just an eighth of a turn you can extend that butt anywhere you want to, and an eighth of a turn, lock it back. It adds beauty, it adds a lot of things to your rod, but we're going to show you how simple and how fast and easy it is to do, whether you build rods or not. I don't care if you're a first timer. The first time around you'll do it as a pro and you can do it in 30 minutes. Now you can take all those old rods in your garage or your attic or your closet that still have really good blanks, good reel seats, and good guides on them, but the rear grip and the handle system is worn out, or it's old, or it's outdated. Now you can make this thing new and be like a brand new rod again without having to buy a brand new one. Now, we've all got rods, like I said, that have old, worn-out systems on them. This rod right here is 20 years old. These guides on this rod are really good. The blank's good. The reel seat's really good. This is a really good rod. But the handle system on it is actually too long for a medium rod. The cork's all worn out on it. And I would love to use this rod. There's nothing wrong with it. And I don't want to have to replace the system. I want this rod to pop. I want it to look good. Putting an MRF system in this rod will make it versatile. I can use this rod for a lot of different things. The same thing goes with this rod right here. This is one of my older rods, about 15 years old. This is a really good rod. This rod cost $150 15 years ago, so you can imagine you're probably looking at a $300 or $400 rod today. It's got all the flares on it, the reel seats, really nice exposed. This is a good rod, but it has a big bulky rear grip on it. And what I bought this rod for was topwater fishing. It's got a short butt on it, but that's all I can use it for. I put an MRF system in this rod. This rod is like new again. I can keep it short, I can keep it long. I can use this rod for a lot of different types of baits and styles of fishing. And I'm going to make this rod with an MRF system in it, it'd be like a brand new rod to me again. It doesn't matter whether it's a spinning rod, a bait casting rod, doesn't matter if it's a full rear grip system or a split grip system. You can do it with any one of them. And I'm going to show you how easy and fast you can do it. First off, let me explain to you what you need. And everything that you're going to need is around your house. All you need is a hacksaw or a Dremel if you've got it. You're going to need a utility knife, a flat handle screwdriver, a sheet of 100 grit sandpaper, a magic marker, and some 1/2-inch masking tape. Now, to glue the whole system together, you're going to need some U-40 or any type of glue that's made for rods. Make sure you use glue that's made for rods, because this glue is designed that if you ever need to work on it again, you can heat it up and loosen it up and take something apart. Now, this stuff right here, I got it at Mud Hole, and you can get it at any tackle store that sells rod components. This is about $7. It'll do 7 to 10 rods. That's a lot of glue. And you'll need some paper towels. So basically, everything I mentioned you've got around your house, or your next door neighbor, or your brother, or your father, somebody has this. The only other thing that you would need to do is decide what type of grip you want to put on your rod, and you'll need a fighting butt. Now, that's all you need. You can add flair to it, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that. But this is all you need. So once you pick out the rear grip and the fighting butt that you want to put on your rod, one thing you want to remember, on your grips, the ones that are made for bait casters, they usually have a little nipple where it goes up inside the reel seat. And a lot of your spinning rods doesn't have it, and it butts up against your reel seat. And some do go inside. But the biggest thing is, when you order a grip, it already has a hole drilled out in it for you. They come 1/4 inch, 3/8, or 1/2 inch. So once you have cut your blank down and you decide how big of a hole you need, order the grip that is closest to that without going over. And the reason why I'm going to tell you this is because once you order that, you can take just a regular piece of sandpaper and you can wind it down as small as you need it, real small, and you can take and put that inside of your reel seat, and it'll boat out, and you can sit there and spin that until you ream it out enough to fit your fishing rod or to fit your MRF system, whichever way you're putting it on there. And that's an inexpensive way of doing it. Or you can order reamers to ream it out, put it in a drill, and to do it really fast. But this way you can do it for just what, 50 cents for a sheet? Other than that, I'm going to show you the simplest way to do this, and you can do it in 30 minutes or less. I actually did the one I'm going to show you in about 10 minutes. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to take the rod that you're going to build your MRF system on. The first thing you want to do is take the grip, the rear grip that you decide to use. It doesn't matter how long it is. You want to match it up to your reel seat. And you want to take your magic marker and you want to mark the back of it. Add a 1/4 inch to it after you mark that. And I'll explain why that 1/4 inch is so important. After you've marked that, then all you've got to do is take your hacksaw or your Dremel and cut that off. Now, once you cut that off, and I've got one here I've already done, and here's one it had, and I love this rod, had an old cork system on it. It's worn out, chipped and everything everywhere, so I cut that off. You can see right there where I cut that off. You won't need that anymore. And then now, how do you get that cork off there? It's glued on there. The simplest way to do it is take you a pot of boiling water. I soaked that for 6 minutes exactly. After I soaked it for 6 minutes, it loosened up. I just twisted it right on off. Once I twisted it off, I had a whole bunch of glue and gunk and pieces of cork left on there. And this one, since it's a pistol grip, it's a bait caster, it actually had that little nipple that went up inside of your reel seat. And that's where you would want to heat that back up again, take your utility knife, scrape off all of the glue and stuff and clean your blank off really good. And then I took the flat handle screwdriver and just dug all that out, spun it around in there until I dug it all out and got it nice and clean. Now you can see that little extension right there? Slides right up in there. So now it fits perfectly. Now the reason why I said add a 1/4 inch to it is because when you make this cut, you want to make sure that your rod blank, the blank back here, fits flush with the end of your rear grip. So you may have to adjust it a little bit to make it fit flush. After you've done that, the next step you want to do is take your MRF system and make sure it fits, the one that you want. So after you've got your measurements here, then you'll know what size MRF system to fit, whether it goes in the blank or over the blank. This right here is a medium rod blank, so it takes a C to go over it. If this was probably a heavy or bigger, I could probably use a B or an A to go in it. It doesn't matter, it's just as strong either way. Now once you've done that, the next thing you want to do is put your rear grip back on there again. Because now you want to adjust your MRF system. Once you slide that up inside there, you can see I got a 1/2 inch there before it touches the back of that right there. You want that rear grip to butt up against your rear grip stop. So I measure that distance right there. I take the whole thing back apart. I pull my rear grip back off. And I take that measurement I had and transfer it to the front. Add 1/8 of an inch to it. And then cut it off with a hacksaw or a Dremel. After you've cut it off, you want to take your sandpaper and you want to clean up those edges really good, inside and out and on the flat side. You want no abrasions anywhere on there. You want that as smooth as you feel the anodized surface. Believe me, they'll make a difference on your rod. Now, I have one right here that I've already cut and made, so I'm going to show you how it fits. Now, I've got my rear grip, and then I put my MRF system inside there, and now you can see it fits up against it really nice and neat, nice and tight. That's done there. So now that you know everything fits, you take everything back apart. The next step you want to do is you want to make sure your MRF system fits your rod blank. Now it's got a little bit of a play in it, not much, but I want to get the play out of it. I want that to fit good and tight on there. So you're going to take your 1/2 inch masking tape and get a good square edge here to start with. And you're going to start at your tip there. And I usually leave about 1/8 of an inch from the end of my butt. And I've also took that sandpaper and sanded the end of my butt and got it good and smooth. Has no abrasion on it. You want to wind that around there a few times until you get it fitting. Make sure it's good and tight and smooth. Until you get it to fit the MRF system really tight. There's no play. Once you get that first one on there, you're going to do a second one and a third one. And I'm going to do them really quick, and I'm going to explain to you why you need a second and a third. So, after I've did my second one, and then I've done my third one, and I can sit there and put my MRF system in there, and I can check it, make sure there's no wiggle. It's good and tight. Now the next thing I want to do is, I have a lot of tape on there, and I want a good bond between my rod blank and my MRF system. I want as much glue on there to support this. So what I do is I take a razor blade, and I run it in a circle around that tape. And then what I'm going to do is take and pull, and find the end of it. I'm going to take and pull that tape off, and you can see I'm left with a good square edge around there. I do that with that piece of tape and with this third piece of tape, and that leaves me a lot of room for the blank to make contact with the glue and the MRF system. Now that's all ready to glue together there. So my next step is I'm gonna glue my rear grip onto my MRF system. I want to make sure that when I glue that on there, I'm squishing glue out, because you can't put enough glue on there. Another thing that I'll do that is really handy to keep glue from getting all over your MRF system is I'll run a piece of tape around my MRF system, and I'll tuck that tape in all the way around that lip. So when I push that up against there, it makes that bond right there. So after I've pushed the glue in there, I've spun it around, got glue everywhere, I'll pull it back off, and then I'll pull my tape off. And then I'm going to push back up here and make sure that's a good tight fit. I'm going to clean it up with paper towels. And then after I clean it up really good, I'll usually take some rubbing alcohol, put it on a paper towel, and keep wiping that to make sure I get all the glue off there. I've got a good glue joint there. Now the next thing I want to do is make sure my MRF system is put completely together. And that is ready to glue on there. There again, putting a lot of glue on there, and as I put it on there, I twist it and turn it. Now, I want to make sure my glue goes up in here really thick. I want a good joint there. So I'm going to put my glue in there, and there again, I'm going to take the excess off and keep cleaning it with paper towels till you get it all off. Now, the last step that you want to do is put your fighting butt on there. There again, you'll take a little tape and just go in about 1/4 of an inch, ream it out enough that the end of your extension rod goes up in there. You don't want to ream the whole thing out because you want that tie. Put a lot of glue on there and glue that into place. And after you've glued it all together, let it sit for 24 hours and you're finished. Now, that rod looks good. It's not an old worn out rod. To me now, that's a new rod. And I can use this rod for many different things now. Now this old rod became an awesome rod. Another thing that you can do that is very handy, and altogether I did this probably with everything I did together myself, I did it in about 20 minutes. So 20 to 30 minutes with anybody can do this. Another thing you can do, you can order like trim rings. This rod didn't have anything fancy on it. Now I can add a trim ring to it and put that on there. Now that really spruced it up a lot. And I can add another winding check back here against my fighting butt to spruce it up even more. Now, that rod looks even better now. It is a really fancy rod. Now, this rod blank had gold and green threading on it, trim on it. So I used a gold and green MRF system with a black extension rod to match my rod. So that way, I've got a good match there. That's the reason why we have so many different colors. So you can mix match them and match your rod or match it for any purpose you want. But either way it goes, this is the rod I've got now, and this is what it used to look like. Now you can make an old rod in your garage new, usable, a great rod. And another good thing about the MRF system, if you ever break this rod blank, all you got to do is heat this up, pull the whole MRF system out of it, and put it in another rod. Any rod on the market will heat up with boiling water and remove the reel seat, the grips, anything off of them, and you can replace them. And it was that simple, probably 20 or 30 minutes. But if you have a question, you want to make sure you order the right thing, call me. I'll be glad to help you, walk you through the build, and then you can take all those old rods and make them new again. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the MRF system and new rods. And look for our videos on how to build new rods with them, and also with Manley Rods production rods. Have a good day and tight lines, my friend.